Hi, dear students, Santosh here. Today I am going to deliver my lecture number 5 on highway engineering, which deals with the road curves and super elevation, and both are the very important part of the geometric design of the highways or roads. So, let us start with the road curves and super elevation. And first of all, I am going to congratulating you all subscribers for achieving my first target of 1000 subscribers because you subscribe my channel. That's why I am encouraged to deliver the more and more lectures in civil engineering. So once again, thank you for everybody, and the request for the others who have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel as early as possible to get some basic knowledge regarding civil engineering. So let's start the topic. Topic deals with the road curves and super elevation. First of all, we discuss what is the road curve. What is the curve? Whenever there is a change in alignment of a road, or whenever there is a change in gradient of the road, in such a cases the curves are required. Means whenever there is a change in alignment, there is requirement of a horizontal curve, and whenever there is a change in gradient, there is a requirement of a vertical curve. And third type of curve is the transition curve, and it is required when we want to change the camber to super elevation. So you must know these three types of curves: horizontal curve, vertical curve, as well as transition curve. So we are going to discuss the necessity. We are already discussed, but again we are discussing the necessity of providing the curves. It is required to align the road to suit the topography of the region or area, to divert the road for avoiding costly land, or to divert the alignment from the religious or monumental structures. To avoid the excessive earthwork in cutting an embankment, sometimes we need the change in alignment, and for that change in alignment we need the curves. To align the road to pass over the existing bridge. If bridge is to be constructed on the ideal site, then road should be aligned with that bridge. In such a cases we need the curve. And to make the use of the right of way, means total width of the road, we want to use that right of way. In such a cases, in certain specific situation, we are going to use the curves. That is the necessity. Then on a long stretch of a straight road, you must know the Solapur Pune National Highway number 65. It is very straight previously, and due to straight road there is a monotonous traveling of the driver, and drivers are not alert in such a situation, and in such a situation there is a possibility of accidents. So to avoid such a monotony, the road designer must design the curves on such a straight portion of a road to avoid the accidents. So on a long stretch of straight road, the driver is likely to lose the concentration. So alternately he tends to increase his speed beyond the safe limit. That is also one of the cause of accident, and these tendencies are checked by introducing curves. So to keep the driver alert by making the change in direction of a road. So that is also the necessity of curve. Then what are the different advantages of providing the curves? They provide gradual change in direction as well as gradient. Means they provide change in horizontal direction, they provide change in vertical direction also. They help to keep the speed of the vehicle within the limit as discussed earlier. They help in providing adequate visibility to the traffic. Then they help to keep the driver alert due to change in direction of a road. These are the advantages. Then we are going to discuss the different types of curves, which are already discussed in my previous discussions. Road curves are three types: horizontal, vertical, and transition. Horizontal, where there is a change in alignment, it is required. Vertical, whenever there is a change in gradient, they are required. And transition, whenever there is a change from camber to super elevation, in such a cases transition curves are required. Okay. Then we will discuss one by one. Horizontal curves. Horizontal curves are necessary when change in direction of travel is to be introduced. These curves are in horizontal plane. When a change in the gradient is to be introduced, a vertical curve in vertical plane is necessary. Road curves, both horizontal and vertical, must ensure the safety, comfort and convenience to the traffic, and that is the main motto of highway engineering. Then the horizontal road curves are following three types. There are three types of horizontal curves. First is the simple curve. This curve consisting of an arc of a simple curve connecting two straights which forms tangent to the arc. This curve bring about a deflection of road through angle theta. Okay. So please look at this figure. This is the figure, and this is one tangent, this is the another tangent, this is the angle of deflection when the angle, these tangents meets here, and this is the angle of deflection, that is theta, and this is the circular curve between two tangents. This is the simple arc, and this provides the gradual change in the alignment. Then we will discuss the second type of compound curve, second type of horizontal curve, which is the compound curve, and this curve comprising two or more arcs of the circle, all turning in the same direction. That is very important, all turning in the same direction. The two adjacent curves will have a common tangent, that is natural. So please look at this figure. This is the radius r1, this might be a different radius, and this is the radius r2. Okay, so this arc is arch of r2, this arc is arc or arch of r1, and this is the tangent t1, and this is the tangent t2, and this is deflection angle second, this is the deflection angle first, and such a type of curve is called as a compound curves, and such a curves are necessary for the change in alignment of road. Then third curve is used in hilly areas. You know that it is just like a snake, so it is also called as a serpentine curve. In this curve there are two simple curves turning in opposite direction. This is the one direction of the curve, and this is the another direction, hogging and sagging, which is termed in strength of material. One is the hogging curve, second is the sagging curve, or one is the convex and second is the concave. This curve consisting of two simple curves turning opposite direction. The adjacent arcs may have same or different radii or radius. These adjacent curves have a common tangent and their center lie in opposite side. Reverse curves are necessary in hilly roads where frequently change in the direction of the travel is required, and due to these curves the hill road presents a serpentine appearance, snake type appearance. Hence a reverse curve is also known as a serpentine curve. Okay, and such a questions are asked in MCQs. What is the another name for reverse curve? Then second type is the vertical curve. On the roads, the vertical curves are provided in vertical plane when there is a gradient change. Vertical curves are two types. First is the summit curve and second is the valley curve. Summit curve. This curve is provided when the intersection of two gradients has the highest elevation. If the rising gradient is considered as a positive gradient and falling gradient is considered as a negative gradient, it will be seen that algebraic difference between the two successive gradients at the meeting point is positive where summit curve is introduced. Summit curve has convexity upwards, that is very important. Summit curve has convexity upward, that is very important, and it is asked in MCQs all the time. What are the different cases of summit curve when rising gradient is intersecting to falling gradient? This is the rising gradient and this is the falling gradient. When rising gradient meets the falling gradient, then we need the summit curve. Then second case is the rising gradient meeting another rising gradient. This is the less rising gradient, or this may be a rising gradient and this may be a rising gradient. Then in such a circumstances we need the summit curve. when rising gradient meeting a horizontal path. This is the rising gradient, and when it meets the horizontal path, in such a situation also we need the summit curve. And when falling gradient meeting a steeper falling gradient, this is the falling gradient and this is another steeper falling gradient, in such a cases also we need the summit curve. These are the different situations where summit curve is provided. Then we will discuss about the valley curve. Name itself indicates it is a valley type curve, or the geometry of the summit curve. This summit curve must provide adequate side distance, and valley curve has a convexity downwards, and for summit curve convexity upwards. That is very important. The point of intersection of two successive gradients has the lowest elevation. In case of summit curve it is the highest elevation. In case of valley curve it has the lowest elevation, where valley curves are introduced. With the sign conventions mentioned earlier, positive and negative gradient. Valley curve is need where algebraic difference of two successive gradients is negative, and when it is positive we will go for summit curve. And what are the different cases of valley curve? First is the falling gradient intersecting a rising gradient. This is the falling gradient and which intersect to rising gradient. In such a cases we need the valley curve. Or when falling gradient meets another falling gradient, this is the falling gradient and this is the another falling gradient, in such a case we need the valley curve. These are the two situations. Then we will discuss about the third type of curve, which is very important in surveying also, and which is termed as a transition curve. And transition curve is required it is seen earlier that the road on the straight alignment has a camber, and while on the curve it has to provide with super elevation. We will discuss super elevation later, but on horizontal curved portion of the road we have to provide the super elevation, and camber is also necessary to provide everywhere. So whenever there is a change from camber to super elevation, in such a cases we require the transition curve. Okay, that is very important, and the curve should have a varying radius changing from indignity at the junction with straight alignment of the road and finite radius of the circular curve. Such a curve is known as a transition curve. And what are the objects of providing transition curve? To provide safety to the vehicles in traffic, to provide smooth entry of vehicles from straight path on the curved portion of the road, to permit the gradual application of the super elevation, and to minimize the wear of the road surface, we need the transition curve to be provided at the places whenever there is a super elevation, and this super elevation value must be more than the camber value. That is also important. Then we will discuss what are the different types of transition curves. Transition curves are of three types. First is the spiral, second is the lemniscate, and third is the cubic parabola. So please look at this figure. In this figure the major axis is shown, and this first one, this one is the spiral type of transition curve. This second type, just like this is the lemniscate type of transition curve, and third type is the cubic parabola. These are the three types of transition curve. You must remember that. What is the length of transition curve? The length of transition curve is designed to satisfy the following condition. The rate of change of centrifugal acceleration is to be considered. Rate of introduction of super elevation is to be considered. So that is the horizontal curved portion of the road, and you must remember the IRC empirical formulas to decide the length of transition curve. So what is in summary or in brief, the horizontal curves are provided whenever there is a change in alignment. The vertical curves are provided whenever there is a change in gradient, and transitions curve are provided whenever there is a change from camber to super elevation. So you must remember these three things. Then we will discuss about the super elevation. The super elevation has also another two names, cant and banking. The cant, super elevation and banking, three are the similar terms. So You don't confuse what is the cant, what is the banking, or what is the super elevation. All are the similar terms. You must know on the horizontal curved portion of the road, the inner edge of the road is raised with respect to the outer edge of the road is raised with respect to inner one to counteract the centrifugal force, and such a ratio of outer edge to inner edge outer edge to inner edge with respect to width of the carriageway is termed as a super elevation. Okay. Whenever a vehicle travels along the horizontal curve, it is acted upon by force which tries to pull the vehicles off. This is the force, that is the centrifugal force. This is the road, and this is the inner edge of the road. This is the outer edge of the road. That outer edge of the road is raised with respect to inner one, and with respect to this horizontal width of the carriageway, which is termed as a super elevation. It is in practice that super elevation is termed as a small e, and which is very small, and the value is ranging from 4 degrees to 7 degrees. We will discuss later on that these values, but you must know the what is the position of vehicle on the horizontal curved portion of the road, and then you must know the centrifugal force, how it is acting. You must know the weight of vehicle. You must know the width of the carriageway. You must know this theta. This is super elevation. Then what are the objects of providing super elevation? To counteract the centrifugal force, it is required to provide the super elevation. That is most important. Second, to help a fast moving vehicle to negotiate a curved path without overturning or skidding. So to avoid the overturning and skidding of the vehicle, super elevation is required. To counteract the centrifugal force, super elevation is required. And to prevent the damage of the road surface due to improper distribution of load of that wheels, it is required super elevation. Okay. Then what are the advantages of providing super elevation? It permits the speed on the curved path as on a straight path without any danger of overturning, and it results in increased volume of traffic. It helps to keep the vehicle to their proper side of the pavement and thus prevent the collision of vehicles moving in opposite direction in case of non-divided carriageway or undivided carriageway. There is no necessity of providing side drain on the outer side of the road in case of undivided carriageway. Uniform stress is offered on the foundation, therefore there is a less wear and tear on the wheel, tires and springs, hence the maximum economy is achieved. That is also important. Economy is all the time important for every aspect of engineering. Then there is a derivation for calculation of super elevation. The derivation, you please look at this figure. In this figure, the forces are P cos theta, and if you apply the condition of equilibrium, that summation H is equal to summation H on the right side is equal to summation H on the left side. So we can get the equation P cos theta, that is P cos theta means centrifugal force, is equal to W sin theta, that is weight of vehicle, this one W sin theta, plus Fa plus Fb. So this force is equal to this force plus this force plus this force. Okay. So that W sin theta and that Fa plus Fb, that Fa plus Fb is nothing but the friction multiplied by reaction. So W sin theta is equal to small f is the coefficient of friction into bracket Ra plus Rb. So what is Ra? Ra is equal to W cos theta, that is Ra. And what is the Rb? Rb is the pi P sin theta. So P into bracket cos theta minus f sin theta, we rearrange that, is equal to W sin theta plus Fw cos theta, and dividing by right side and left side by W cos theta, we get the P by W into bracket 1 minus f tan phi is equal to f plus tan phi. So that P by W is equal to tan phi plus f divided by 1 minus f tan theta. But 1 minus f tan theta is equal to 1. Then P by W is equal to f plus tan theta. P by W is equal to E plus f. What is the tan theta? That tan theta is this one, and that is the super elevation. The E is tan theta and tan theta is the super elevation. So if centrifugal force on the curve is P is equal to W V square upon GR, then automatically V square upon GR is equal to E plus F, or E plus F is equal to V square upon GR. So what is the E, what is the F, what is the V, what is the G, and what is the R? You must know all these terms to solve the analytical problems, where E is equal to rate of super elevation, that is the tan theta. F is equal to design value of lateral friction coefficient, which is generally taken as a 0.15. V is equal to speed of vehicle in meter per second. R is equal to radius of horizontal curve where super elevation is to be provided, that is in meter. And what is G? G is the acceleration due to gravity, that is 9.8 meter per second square. And if velocity in kilometer per hour, then it is converted as E plus F is equal to V square upon 127 GR, where E plus F is equal to V square upon GR. But if we have considered the velocity in kilometer per hour, or if velocity is given in kmph, E plus F is equal to V square upon 127 GR. This formula is important for solving the analytical problems. And if coefficient of friction is neglected, that F is neglected, then E is equal to V square upon 127 R, which is called as a equilibrium super elevation. And when super elevation is not possible to provide, when super elevation we are not going to provide on the road, on such a road, the allowable speed, how much it is to be kept, that depend upon that radius of curve, coefficient of friction. So that velocity is calculated by formula under root of 127 FR, and that velocity is the maximum limit for the vehicles traveling on that highway whenever their super elevation is not provided. So you must remember that formula also. What are the different minimum and maximum values for super elevation? Sometimes asked in multiple choice question. So super elevation is obtained from the formula should be however kept to the limited to the following values. So what are the limiting values? In plain and rolling areas, the minimum value is 4%, and what is the maximum value? In plain and rolling areas it is 7%, in snow bound areas it is 7%, and in hilly area not bound by the snow it is 10%. And whenever the super elevation value is less than the camber, or whenever the camber is more than that of super elevation, in such a cases it is not necessary to provide the super elevation. In such a cases we can adopt the camber as a super elevation. That is very important. So we are going to conclude this lecture, and if you like this lecture, you press the like button also, you subscribe my channel also if you have not subscribed my channel, and press bell icon for further notifications. आणि या लेक्चरच्या शेवटी मी मराठीत सांगू इच्छितो की रस्ता सरळ असेल तर त्या रस्त्याची काही किंमत नसती. रस्ते वळणदार असावे लागतात, आणि रस्ते वळणदार कशासाठी असावे लागतात ते आपण या अभ्यासातून शिकलो आहे. म्हणजे जेव्हा तुम्हाला आपला स्वभाव चेंज करायचा आहे, म्हणजे चेंज इन अलाइनमेंट, जेव्हा तुम्हाला तुमचा मूड चेंज करायचा आहे म्हणजे चेंज इन ग्रेडियंट, म्हणजे जेव्हा तुम्हाला बदल अपेक्षित असतो तेव्हा तुम्ही कर्व्सकडे जाता. तर याच अंदाजाने किंवा याच व्ह्यूने तुम्ही कर्वकडे बघा. आणि सुपर एलिव्हेशनकडे बघायचं असेल, इफ यू वॉन्ट टू लुक टुवर्ड्स द सुपर एलिव्हेशन, the super elevation also going to provide the comfort to the drivers and to avoid the effect of centrifugal force. आपका व्हीकल जो रास्ता छोड़ के बाहर भाग जाता है उसको पकड़ के अंदर लाने के लिए अपने को सुपर एलिवेशन ज़रूरी है. सो ज़िंदगी की गाड़ी ट्रैक में चलने के लिए हम लोगों को कर्व और सुपर एलिवेशन की बहुत ज़रूरत होती है. तो इतना ही काफ़ी है. अगला लेक्चर जल्दी मैं दे दूंगा. लेकिन ये लेक्चर आपको अच्छा लगा तो आप ज़रूर मेरे को सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा। और थैंक यू वंस अगेन फॉर माय ऑल सब्सक्राइबर्स फॉर सब्सक्राइबिंग मी and my channel. Thank you very much. Bye.